Time is unlimited, time is continuous. No one can predict what will come and what will happen next. Time is there at the beginning in everyone's story. Time is the only one who can tell the truth. Now let us use the time to tell the untold stories. Open your eyes and ears. This is the time to unfold the untold.
Have you ever thought of life from the past? When we were still living in a breathable paradise before the coming of the three foreign races? Well, we will take you back from that certain period, where everyone follows the system, where everything was fair, even when the communities were classified in classes. The people fancy a higher standard of the government. The relationship of the ruler to his people was very simple back then. In return for his protection, the people paid tribute and served him both in times of war and feast. But that's not all. Did you know? During pre-Hispanic times, Filipinos can be divided according to these classes. The noble class, called the Maginoo, the freeman class, called the Maharlika, and the indentured class, called the Alipin. But don't worry, we'll elaborate it for you.
The Maginoo were the ruling class, educated class, the royal class, and the privileged class. It was from this class that the Datu would come from. The Datu is the leader of the community called a barangay. He is the chieftain, somewhat synonymous to a monarch, Raha, Sultan, or simply in a generation, a king. These early groups would settle near the shorelines or river banks, and their newfound community would be called a barangay, similar to the word balangay. The size of barangay can vary, but usually somewhere between 50 to 100 families, or 30 to 100 houses, or 100 to 500 persons. They also have the power to legislative, executive, and judiciary.
During pre-colonial era, women shared equal footing with men in the society. They were allowed to divorce, own, and inherit their property, and even lead the respective barangays or territories. They had a sole right to name their children. Women also held a great weight in the matters of politics and religion. They also held some rituals in the title of babaylan. Society was a lot more tolerant back then. Aside from allowing divorce, women had a say in how many children they wanted.
The freeman class, known as the Maharlika, probably made up the bulk of the barangay community. They were free, they could acquire property, acquire any job they want, pick their own wives, and acquire an alipin. They were, however, expected to pay taxes and support the Maginoo class. They are the only class to pay taxes and hence their importance in the community. A Maharlika could change their allegiance to another barangay by marrying into it or simply moving to it. This, however, required paying a certain amount to his datu. A feast would be given in his honor when leaving the barangay.
The Alipin. The Alipin had the least rights. They are not exactly slaves in traditional sense, but they were indentured servants. Basically, they served their master who belonged to one of the classes above them, but it does mean that they did all the work in the barangay. The Maharlika were probably expected to do most of the work in the barangay, and the Alipin was likely his or her servant at home, such as doing house chores and cooking, or aided the Timawa with their duties at work. Alipin has two kinds, aliping namamahay. A namamahay was usually an alipin who had received a piece of land from his and her master in return. He was required to hand over a portion of the land produced as tribute to occasionally work on his master's land. Aliping sagigilid. These alipins were single men and women who worked in their master's home, tending the gilid. Among their chores, they were completely dependent for food and shelter, but if they could make some money on the side, they were allowed to keep some of it. If they managed to save enough, they could buy their way up to namamahay or even the timawa status.
Philippines has a rich history that molded, helped, and transformed our society into what kind of community we have today. Pre-colonial hierarchy left a remarkable and tremendous lesson to us all, which this concept still is much more a trend up to this generation, that even in our democratic state, we will still always have a social status, where only few will be on top and more will be on the bottom. But that's how life works, and it doesn't mean that we should let our current circumstances dictate what we should be and what we should have. What we must do is we should let ourselves control our own lives, but never forget what is enough for us, because the ones who seek more than what they truly deserve are the ones who doesn't have their own life in control. Let this story be a lesson to us all, that life is the powerful factor in this world's timeline.